Amber Heard went from the peak of her career to persona non grata in Hollywood after losing a defamation lawsuit against her ex-husband, Johnny Depp. But is that really the only reason why the Aquaman star isn't cast in many movies anymore? Amber Heard broke into the mainstream via minor appearances and supporting roles in various TV projects. She landed roles on the short-lived series Jack and Bobby and The OC, as well as a music video for Kenny Chesney. After this, she found work in feature films, with her first being a minor role in Friday Night Lights. Heard split her time on television and in films early in her career, which helped bring positive attention her way. The 2000s were a great time professionally for Heard, as she landed roles in Hidden Palms and Criminal Minds. In 2006, Heard debuted in her first leading role in a film, All the Boys Love Mandy Lane, though it wasn't released commercially for several years. Regardless, she had positive buzz surrounding her name in Hollywood, and the roles kept on coming. In 2008, Heard found mainstream success appearing in Pineapple Express and Never Back Down. The following year, she played a small but important role in Zombieland. While that particular film did well, several independent projects she appeared in did not, including her first major commercial film, Drive Angry, in which she starred opposite Nicolas Cage. Many of Heard's early films didn't perform well critically or financially, but she was often praised for her work in otherwise lackluster productions. As a result, she continued landing gigs during the first 2 decades of her professional career. While Heard landed numerous prominent roles throughout her career, her biggest didn't arrive until 2017. That's when she first played Mira in the DC Extended Universe film Justice League. The role was pretty significant, as was the film, which bombed rather horrifically. That had little to nothing to do with Heard's performance, and the plans for the DCEU indicated she'd have an opportunity to reprise the role. She did so the following year with Aquaman.
Atlantis has always had a king. Now I need something more.
Where Justice League failed, Aquaman did far better, earning various accolades and significant returns at the global box office. All indications were that Mira would return in the sequel, which took several years to make thanks in part to the COVID-19 pandemic. Regardless, it was made and released in 2023 to critical disdain. One main issue plaguing Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom was the off-screen relationship between its lead, Jason Momoa, and Heard. Rumors of bad blood between the stars leaked, and fans launched a petition to have Heard removed. When the film came out, Heard's scenes were significantly cut. She received one script after the next, each one with fewer and fewer scenes involving her character. A major fight sequence was removed as well. The film performed poorly financially, and the rumors of on-set drama clearly didn't help. Amber Heard first met Johnny Depp on the set of The Rum Diary, but both were in relationships with other people at the time. It would be a few years before they began dating, and in February 2015, the couple married. Initially, they had a private ceremony before holding a larger one on Depp's private island in the Bahamas. From the start, it seemed they were the Hollywood couple to emulate, but problems arose indicating otherwise before long. In July 2015, Depp and Heard sparked controversy in Australia when they brought their 2 Yorkshire Terriers into the country illegally. This resulted in criminal charges against Heard, who'd failed to include the dogs in her customs declaration. She pleaded guilty the following year to avoid a possible prison sentence, and the couple issued an apology via a recorded video.
I am truly sorry that Pistol and Boo were not declared. Protecting Australia is important.
It was a hiccup, but it indicated there were issues going on beneath the surface. Neither actor came out of the incident looking good. Regardless, they continued to show affection for one another on red carpets and elsewhere. Throughout the rest of 2015, it looked like Heard and Depp were going strong, but it all came tumbling down rather quickly. By January 2016, it was beginning to look like they might be experiencing problems in their relationship, which was confirmed in May when Heard filed for divorce. The following day, Heard filed a restraining order against Depp, establishing what would become one of Hollywood's messiest divorces. Divorce is a difficult process for most couples, and there have been plenty of messy splits in Hollywood. That said, calling Amber Heard and Johnny Depp's divorce messy is actually something of an understatement. When Heard filed for divorce and a restraining order, she alleged physical and mental abuse, which Depp and his attorneys loudly denied. The divorce was ultimately settled in January 2017, resulting in Heard dropping the restraining order. She took a cash settlement to end the proceedings, which she pledged to donate to charity. For the most part, the divorce itself wasn't terribly messy, but it didn't end with the settlement. Instead, the issues in Heard and Depp's relationship continued to dominate headlines when Heard penned an op-ed for the Washington Post calling out Depp for alleged domestic violence. Technically, Heard didn't name the individual she alleged had abused her, but anyone who read it immediately understood that Depp was the target. This didn't sit well with the actor, as the allegations cost him considerable work. Disney dropped him from future plans with the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, and he was also removed and replaced in the Fantastic Beasts franchise. This cost Depp a great deal financially, but it also marred his reputation. The blowback was swift, as Depp filed a defamation suit against Heard for her op-ed. The legal drama that unfolded in the public between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard began with their divorce, and it continued for years. Depp fought and lost a libel suit against The Sun for calling him a wife-beater. That article got him fired from Fantastic Beasts, but he lost the case and an appeal. After this, Depp took aim directly at his ex-wife for writing her op-ed. He filed a defamation suit against Heard, alleging that it was actually she who was committing acts of abuse in their relationship. Not long after, Heard filed a counterclaim against Depp, alleging that his accusations and online petitions got her fired from Aquaman and L'Oreal. This gave both parties a financial stake in the proceedings, and their trial played out between April 11th and June 1st, 2022, in Fairfax County, Virginia. The trial was broadcast in full, so the world got to watch as the former lovers aired all sorts of dirty laundry on each other. As the trial progressed, it became all the more disturbing as each party laid out their claims and evidence against the other. During the trial, fans of Depp launched the Justice for Johnny hashtag in his support, and the public turned on Heard. Ultimately, the trial found that Heard's statements in the op-ed were false and awarded Depp $15 million. At the same time, the jury also found in favor of Heard in one area, awarding her $2 million. While she was dealing with the dissolution of her marriage and the public scrutiny that came with her allegations in print, Amber Heard continued to work. She appeared in numerous films during this tumultuous time in her life, including Justice League, Aquaman, and more. Heard also worked on the small screen, playing Nadine Cross in the 2020 The Stand miniseries. The 9-episode miniseries is the second adaptation of Stephen King's 1978 post-apocalyptic novel and a remake of the 1994 adaptation. The series didn't achieve as much success as its 90s predecessor, receiving mixed reviews from critics. Development began years earlier, with initial plans settling around a feature film adaptation before it was ultimately decided to make another miniseries.
We can't this up. Do you understand?
Unfortunately, by the time it found its way to people's TV screens, the COVID-19 pandemic was raging across the globe. That likely didn't help draw viewers due to the subject matter, as well as streaming fatigue and competition from other shows. The pandemic was only one part of why The Stand didn't work. The other was that it simply wasn't very good. Rotten Tomatoes has the show at a 57% critical rating, which is actually more than double the audience score, which sits at 25%. Heard's acting isn't necessarily bad, but the character she plays in the series is very different from the one presented in the book. This likely turned some fans away, as it was a relatively significant change. Others felt that Heard was miscast in the role entirely. The defamation trial between Amber Heard and Johnny Depp captivated the nation's attention throughout the proceedings. The whole thing was salacious and interesting to watch from afar, with millions of people engaged in online discussions while watching the trial unfold. While it wasn't the trial of the century, it was certainly fascinating to watch two incredibly famous people go after one another in such horrific detail. Because it was such a draw, it wasn't shocking to learn that Netflix greenlit a documentary series based on the trial, using video directly lifted from the legal proceedings. The documentary also delves into the social impact of the trial on popular culture. But despite its intriguing content, Depp vs. Heard wasn't well received. Critics didn't care for the documentary series, which failed to feature a host of talking head experts or anything you'd expect to find in a true crime-style doc. Critics gave the series a 25% on Rotten Tomatoes, compared to an 11% viewer score. Ultimately, the trial itself offered everything the public needed to see, making Depp vs. Heard nothing more than unnecessary fluff that oversaturated the public with the couple's drama. The trial between Amber Heard and Johnny Depp didn't do Heard's career any favors. While Depp's career appears to be on the mend following his victory, Heard's loss has made her a social pariah. While she appeared in limited fashion in Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom in 2023, Heard's work dried up significantly leading up to, during, and after the defamation trial. Her work opportunities were limited inside the United States, so she found work across the pond in Italy. Heard ended up landing the leading role of Grace Burnham in the Italian film In the Fire, which follows a doctor who treats a young boy with inexplicable abilities while living on a remote plantation. It premiered at the Taormina Film Festival in Italy in June 2023, and it received a limited release in the US in October of the same year. It was poorly received by most. Critics weren't kind to In the Fire, which holds a 15% on Rotten Tomatoes. Brian Lowry of CNN wrote, "It's a pretty awful starring vehicle for the actor that she also produced. A film unlikely to produce many sparks beyond those set off by the morbidly curious." The trial between Amber Heard and Johnny Depp did not end in Heard's favor, and everything that came to light resulted in significant backlash. Heard was aware of her standing with the public, so she packed her bags and moved to Spain. She speaks Spanish fluently, so she had no problem picking up and relocating to Madrid with her daughter. Spanish media asked her about her move to Madrid and how she felt about things. She told the reporters that she loved Spain, and when she was asked if she planned to remain in the country, her reply seemed pretty positive.
Me encanta España, muchísimo.
¿Te vas a quedar por aquí?
Espero que puedo, sí, me encanta vivir aquí.
A source had previously told People magazine that Heard was looking forward to moving across the Atlantic. It appears that she may have retired from Hollywood acting, at least for the time being. But that said, she did film In the Fire after moving, so she may try to make a go of it in the European film market. Heard denied reports she was hanging it all up, and according to the Economic Times, she had some work lined up back in 2023. That said, there's nothing noted on her IMDb page, and all indications make it look like she doesn't have much planned for the near future.